Some of the biggest news crypto has been waiting for has occurred overnight. XRP lawsuit is over. XRP is no longer a security, and the crypto market is taking this as a win for everyone. Bitcoin has hit its highest levels in 2023. It's closed at its highest price in 2023. We're also seeing the US dollar collapse as anticipated and expected based on previous analysis that we've covered here on the channel many times before. So if you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe button. Follow the journey here as we are your home of macro cycle analysis, where we study the past to forecast the future. You've got all of the receipts here on the channel. We cover the stock markets, we cover commodities, Bitcoin, crypto, and of course, the biggest cycles in the world, the real estate and economic cycle. Guys, if you want to jump on board with our TIA premium members to hit up some of these massive gains they're getting in their crypto trading while the times are looking really good, link is in the top of that video description right here. TIA premium, click that link, check it out. These guys are hitting some great gains, 38%, 40%, 56%, 70%, and hundreds of a percent as we get the breakouts in our mechanical trading plans. So go and join those. That's crazy. 700%. I just saw this today. All right, guys, have a look at what's going on right now for Bitcoin. I really want to focus on the scary times ahead. I'm here for the good times at the bottom, but I'm also here for the scary times at the top. Now, this could just be intermediate, and I want to highlight that now as the market looks like it's breaking out. As I said, it's broken to new fresh highs for 2023, new fresh closes. The dollar is going down. The stock markets are continuing to push higher as we have called for over the last 12 months, as this has been a significant bottom for the stock markets. And of course, these markets are important because if we got risky plays happening in the stock markets, naturally some of that money flows over into Bitcoin, and then naturally it flows over into altcoins because investors and traders look for higher beta returns and their risk appetite continues to increase. It's a good thing for quick, fast money. It's not a good thing if you don't have any experience. That's why I talk about looking at trading plans, specific trading plans that have key indicators to look at to protect your wealth once you've made it. All right. BTC is the news, XRP is the news today. I thought this was pretty funny looking back a day. Just type in BTC news and we really want to get into the minds of the investors here and then look at what could be happening into the future. As I said, this of course, we study the past to forecast the future. A day ago, even as inflation risks fade, Bitcoin remains stuck below 31K. 1 day ago, 10 hours ago, BTC price due for 31K as analysts says disinflation boosting Bitcoin. Bitcoin and crypto stocks like Coinbase saw as XRP ruling bolsters optimism. Same media outlet, two different titles in the space of several hours based on, of course, the XRP ruling. No one could have predicted this. Not saying that we could have predicted a move of 60%, and at the peaks, it was a little more than that. We were up around 101%. But, of course, if you follow the trend has been up. Higher highs, higher lows. That is an uptrend. You got to stay on board with the trend. And of course, XRP has finally broken out of that trend. This was our level we're watching, 56 cents. Now, it's not something that I cover every single day because most aren't that interested in it, but it is something that I cover with our members over in TIA Premium and our TIA members section as well, looking at some of the key cryptos. Now, this is broken out of that level. The next levels we want to look at for XRP, before we get on to Bitcoin, just a quick update here, looking at our key levels here, 50%. It's touched 50% and come back underneath it. So it needs to at least get above 86 cents by the end of this week. So that gives you a specific price and time target if you are an XRP holder or hoping for higher prices from this level. That's your key 50% level. Now to the upside for the overbalance in time and price, looking at the low to the high. So this is the biggest rally that XRP has done during its bear market. And now you need to see that price overcome. You need to see at least a 95.5 cent move from the current low to the next peak, wherever this might be. So we look for 95 or 96 cents. It brings us out to $1.25 above the major 50% level. Now the high here from 2021 to the current cycle low in June 2022, XRP must get over $1.25 and consolidate over that level for some longer term strength. Short term stuff, get on board, make the trades, make your money, do all that sort of thing. But those are your key levels for the end of this week, and then for the overbalance in time and price for a macro flip for XRP, so that it doesn't become just another pump and fade out again like it has done through its entire history since the 2017-2018 altcoin bull market. So you don't want to see this become yet just another pump and fade out. Those are the key levels. I'm looking at 86 cents and then over $1.25 for XRP. So that's the news. XRP surges 29%. Judge's ruling, SEC case. XRP not a security. This, of course, is helping the cryptocurrency space, and you start to feel that lift of pressure that was put on the cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. And on the same day, guess what? Europe's first spot Bitcoin ETF eyes 2023 debut after a year-long delay. So it looks like this is potentially happening as well. If not, it's already happened. It's set to debut later this year after a long delay. So it's said it's going to happen. Let's wait and see whether it does happen as well. So this is going to bring in more eyeballs across the European sector to be able to invest in a spot Bitcoin ETF. Good news for BTC. And of course, this has pushed through into the price. Highest closing price and highest price for Bitcoin in 2023. You know that this is something that I bang on about a lot when it comes to the markets overall. It's very unlikely you're going to see lower prices, lower cyclical prices, when you keep getting higher daily prices and higher daily closes for the year. And we're now coming up to our 7th month down. And for a long period of time, meaning if we take the closing price of yesterday at 31,400 and span it all the way back to the last time Bitcoin was at this price, it was roughly 400 days ago. The idea here is that Bitcoin has, well, the analysis, the theory is that Bitcoin has never done a time of reaching a marker of 400 days, so a high price and a high close of 400 days, and then gone back to a new cycle low. This is the same sort of thing that you can use across the stock markets as well. So when you can identify this, it puts you a mile in front of analysts, investors, traders. I don't think a lot of people understand this. The theory behind it is that you are getting more supply taken off the market, which keeps putting in higher and higher lows. And that shows you what investors are actually doing with their money in the market, as opposed to what the news is telling you. We've heard all about the inflation fears. We've heard all about the banking crisis. And now look at what the market's done. It's boomed from the banking crisis low when that should have collapsed the market. We had a bear market bottom. This was the fears of interest rate rises. We had fears of inflation, which are now at lower levels than they were about 12 months ago. Oh, sorry, 2 years ago. Definitely 12 months ago. 12 months ago was the peak. So we had the fears at those lows. We're above the price of when the war broke out between Russia and Ukraine. We're above all sorts of prices. And on top of that, as crazy it is, don't ever forget this, because this is the stuff that helps you set yourself above the other mainstream analysts and investors, big names, millions of subscribers on YouTube and Twitter and that sort of stuff that are continuing to push, what if the market collapses? They don't look at charts. Look at the price here compared to the all-time high. The stock market is now 5.6% away from a new all-time high. The NASDAQ is now 6.3% away from a new all-time high. It doesn't feel like it should be like that. So logically speaking, how the hell is this happening? Doesn't matter at the end of the day. It is happening. And to make money, you just have to be on the right side of the market. This stuff doesn't always make sense. Logically, this market should have collapsed because they just keep printing money. And there's always a new crisis on the horizon. There's always something going wrong in the market. But the price keeps going up, higher and higher lows. And this is getting a little quick, which is starting to get a little bit antsy, a little bit scary on that account. But we'll get to those details in just a moment. The other details I want to look at in terms of the price ranges here for BTC are where could this market top out, and then we can get on to the market psychology here. Now, I've pointed out multiple times about where these price targets could be. The reason for this is we want to stay just a little bit ahead of the market, of course, and give us some insight as to if we see a pullback, then we can start to prepare for what that price could be to the downside. So I'm looking at the Wall Street cheat sheet and I'm flicking through a few charts here. I've got this in mind, and then the fear and greed, because we're trying to marry up the market sentiment here to what's going on in the market itself. So I'm looking at some prices overhead around, firstly, we got to get past 32K, this first white line, then around that $36,000 level, which is a 100% repeat of this move here. So this is the swing move. If you want to get those swings in using our TIA Gann swing indicator, link to that is in the video description. We're looking at key pivot points in the market and marrying those up, our points 1, 2, and 3 here, and then projecting that forward to see if the market can repeat those price ranges. And it typically attempts to do that, and it stops sometimes at 50%. So with that in mind, 100% is about 36,000, 150% is at 42,000, and 42,000 is also our 50% move from the low to the high. So these are extremely important levels to watch, key levels to watch for any sort of rejection in price. So 32 is the first level, 36, then around 42. Once we get to that point, and this was one of those charts that I looked at recently to help us identify that maybe we're about to break out of this level. The reason for this is we don't often remain in price ranges, so this price range, for much longer than 13 months. You can see in the past, Bitcoin has remained within a price range of 2 months worth of price trading range, and it lasted 13 months before it broke down. We've now been in this price range for 13 months, so that's the June price range between 32 and 17 for about 13 months, and it looks like we're attempting to break out. Does that mean that we go on a new pump to new all-time highs? Probably not at this stage. It's probably a little bit early, but it could mean that we have another significant move to the upside before we get that correction, that significant correction that everyone has been waiting for. And we got one during the banking crisis low, but most didn't want to believe it. They thought it was going to go lower, missed it, and now they've missed the next one. So I think they're going to get squeezed to the upside now as potentially Bitcoin goes on this move. Hopefully back 32. 36 is the next target, and of course 42. If we have those levels, then we can measure to the downside. So we've got some targets now for the price. Now, what happens if we were to do a similar sort of correction to the downside? 20% is what we did last time. And for the banking crisis collapse, we got a 22.5%. So if we make it to 36,000 and drop about 20%, that could still take us all the way back to $28,000 or $29,000. So it's interesting to point out that we could, not saying we will, but it's possible we could go back to that level. However, if we're able to squeeze even more pain from the market and get up to around 42,000, then a move to the downside of 20% takes us back to about 33,500. But remember the pain that has to occur to get to that point. It's going to squeeze a lot of people. And now I'm not saying either of these are going to happen or they must happen. It's just if we get there and what we could expect after that point, and then look to a correction, a significant correction. Because if this move happens quick, you can expect to have a significant move to the downside. Should happen. Doesn't always have to, but I'm going to be prepared for it either way, because basically the psychology so far has been that we've needed a big correction. We've needed a correction to break all these lows here, and it just has not happened. So naturally, I think, well, we've got to squeeze out all those bears who have been waiting for a correction. And the only way to do that is really pump them to the upside, which is basically my warning here. If we get that, then I'm going to be concerned. I'm always concerned when the market goes up hard and fast because of that potential correction. So looking to the downside in terms of a percentage move from approximately 42K, the 20% to the downside is 33,500. If we got that 22.5% move, brings us all the way back to 32.5. So still levels that are higher than we are now. But remember, I'm not saying it will get to 42. I'm just saying if it gets there, these are the possibilities of the move to the downside, which would then bring us just above where we currently are right now. So lots to pay attention to at the moment in the market, especially with the fear and greed looking like it's heating up again. Remember what's happened in the past with the fear and greed indicator. As we go on these big pumps, these max pain moves to the upside, eventually we get a max pain move to the downside on the market sentiment. So that FOMO to the upside, the greed comes in, the FOMO to the downside will also come in. So maybe we finally get this push up to 70s or the 80s on this reading, which then gives us enough power to pump all the way back down. If that happens, it doesn't mean the price has to come back down to where it is. It just means the market sentiment needs to reset, and that's going to depend on wherever the top comes in. Is it going to be 36? Is it going to be 42? Let me know in the comments section down below. While you do that, hit the like and subscribe button. And of course, the links to TI Premium are also down there as well. All right, guys, so we've covered a fair bit here looking at Bitcoin, these current prices. The last couple of videos I did looked at moving averages and the possibility of Bitcoin's price getting further and further away from the 200-week moving average like it has done throughout history into bull markets. So potentially we're on that track now where we get further away from it. So keep an eye on that. And also the 50-week moving average, this yellow line here. Once that bottoms and turns, you have the first move to the upside. That's pretty much it. The bear market has another nail in the coffin, and we've definitely seen that. That happened in May of 2023. So many reasons for why this market could be pushing away faster. This is yet another one of those. We probably will get a correction at some point, but we'll probably get a max pain move. And that's going to bring us into the disbelief, that pump, then that correction. We go through these stages in all different timeframes as well. So this doesn't have to be the overall cycle. It could be a shorter term cycle where you get that euphoric move and then the complacency, and then we crash out for the rest of the year and we just hover around and wait for that next accumulation, consolidation before the market's ready to pump, just like it has done in previous bull markets. It's just what happens. But you get higher and higher lows as that consolidation forms. So we don't typically come all the way back. And I've shown that with the 200-week moving average as the price gets further away from that moving average. We've covered XRP, those prices that the market needs to get to, and also looked at these key price points that keep playing out for the stock markets, which is more fuel to the Bitcoin cycle as well, because we want to see positive moves in the market across the board, across the world. And that's exactly what we're seeing with the stock markets. We're seeing the US dollar drop the first time in a very long time, since March, April of 2022, that it's been under 100 again. So that's a good sign for assets. And we're seeing that happen across the board. We're seeing gold and silver run up as well. And there we are, NASDAQ pumping away from yet another very small retracement. Look at that, 4% move from that retracement there. People were hoping for bigger corrections. It's just not happening at the moment. Eventually, it potentially will, but who knows at what price this will stop at before you get that correction. We might have to come up and test some of these higher prices before you get that correction, which is all fueling into the Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency space. Plenty more on the macro cycles coming up, guys. You know what to do. Links in the top of the video description for our free crypto and economic report. Like and subscribe. Let me know, what do you think is going to happen to Bitcoin? Are we going to $36,000, $42,000, or you think it's it here at 32? Let me know in the comments section down below. I'll see you back here for yet another video, potentially over the weekend or next week. Until then, have fun to get more done. Peace out.